Hello, welcome to Girl Scouts Heart of the Hudson Regional webinar. Tonight's highlight is on trip planning. Before we begin, let me go over your panel box functions. This screen is an illustration of your panel box, and I'd like to do a sound check now to make sure everyone can hear me. So please find your hand icon now and click on it. If you are using an iPad, you will find the hand icon on the very top of your screen as a gray silhouette. If you're unable to find your hand icon, please find your question box and type "you're here." Also, please note that your panel box states Eileen Hickey is speaking. She is not hosting this webinar. All attendees are on mute to avoid background interference. So if you have a question, you can type it in your panel question box, and I'll be answering your questions as we move through this webinar. Okay, you can see that the sound is working, and I'll put your hands down. Thank you. Let me introduce myself. My name is Dolores Da Silva, also known as Dee. I am one of a team of membership and volunteer service managers that are located throughout our council offices. You'll see me in my location at the Poughkeepsie Regional Office. Before I get started on today's trip planning topic, I'd like to acknowledge and thank all our volunteers. We know as volunteers you take girls on adventures every day. The month of April is National Volunteer Appreciation Month, and this week is National Volunteer Week. Join us in celebrating all our wonderful volunteers during this month and give a special shout out to Girl Scout leaders. In recognition to Girl Scouts Appreciation Day, which is April 22nd, any leader who comes by our council offices on Friday the 22nd will receive a customized luggage tag. On behalf of all the staff at Girl Scouts Heart of the Hudson, we thank you for all that you do. Girls would not have Girl Scout trip opportunities if it hadn't been for committed volunteers as yourself, and for that we thank you. Okay, our agenda tonight will include preparing for a trip, safety and emergency procedures, travel readiness, progression, and where to go. Questions and answers will be addressed before I wrap up this webinar. Preparing for a trip is the first step before you venture out with your group. For a successful trip, you will need to know important information and learn about common risks that can be anticipated with trips and manage how to reduce or eliminate those risks. To be able to do this, you will need to do your homework, researching, and have taken proper training. It is required that an approved adult going on trips with girls take the necessary trainings. Here you see on this screen the required training resources. There should be one trained adult present who has taken the new leader training, preferably 2 trained leaders in case the trained leader cannot go. If the trip you will be taking is sleeping indoors and not cooking on an open fire, they will need to take overnight indoor training. And if you are cooking on an open fire or sleeping in tents, you need the overnight outdoor training. Also, before making any final plans for your trip, you need to complete the council's trip notification form and be approved before you finalize your trip. You also need to be aware that the adult ratio to girl changes when you take trips. You will need more adults, and I'll go into more about this later. Also, adults going need to be prepared to handle emergencies and are familiar with the safety guidelines and safety activity checkpoints. All overnight trips require a trained first aid CPR adult, and this training is also required for activities wherein the safety activity checkpoint states so. If you've not had the opportunity to check out the new training resource, Troop Startup Guide, you should do so, because on pages 12 and 13 it defines our council's guidelines for trips and camping. You can find this document on Girl Scout Heart of the Hudson's website under the volunteer section and click on trainings. These forms you should already be familiar with. When traveling, you have to submit a trip activity notification form for any activity that takes you out of council, involves special equipment, or is an overnight. Submit this form and the participation list form at least 3 weeks in advance of your trip. This is a fillable form that can be completed online and then sent via email to your membership services and volunteer managers for approval. Indicate name and dates of the required trainings and attach copies of current training cards. For any other activities outside the normal troop meeting that is not an overnight, out of council, or using special equipment, contact your service unit team designee and let them know you will be locally taking the trip. You can also download this trip notification form from our website for your records. Troop leaders for the troop must collect signed parent permission slips for all outings away from the troop's regular meeting place. It is very important that Girl Scouts of all ages have an ID card on them. If something should happen to a group of Girl Scouts, it is the quickest and easiest way for first aiders to identify and teach each girl properly. Girl Scout Heart of the Hudson has an ID template that you can download from our website. Health history forms should be on hand when traveling. It is important that you are aware of any medication a girl may take or allergies she may have. Parents should complete the front side of this form for local trips so you are aware of the allergies and medication information that might be needed in an emergency. The back side of the form is used for summer camp and trips of 3 nights or more. Now keep in mind, this health history form is confidential and protected by law. This information may only be shared with people who have a need to know, such as the healthcare provider. You should store these forms in a sealed envelope, and when traveling, put in your troop first aid kit to assure availability in an emergency. Accident incident report form also should be on hand when traveling in case a girl needs medical care as a result of an accident or an injury. Every registered girl and adult member in the Girl Scout movement is covered under the basic insurance plan. This insurance is a supplement to your family medical plan. Keep in mind, when taking trips, if you have members not registered or are taking extended trips, you can purchase non-member accident and extended trip insurance. These forms are on our website, which I'll show you next. And Chapter 4 in Volunteer Essentials has more information regarding Girl Scout activity insurance. To find forms, go to the Volunteer tab on the green banner towards the top. Then click on Forms and Documents. If you know the form's title, you can type it in the keyword search box. However, if you click on the down arrows options, a categories comes up when the window appears, and this you'll see is Select Trips and Travel. Then all the necessary forms for taking the trip will appear. They are all writable forms right from the website. No need to print these forms. Wait till your next meeting to have parents sign. Just send them the link to the form and they will be able to complete it and send it back to you. Parent permission, trip activity notification, health history forms, insurance forms, and the girl's ID card template. Also, you could type in the search box the accident incident report, which you don't see here. Safety can be a big source of anxiety for girls and adults. Put everyone's mind at ease by preparing for safe travel. The Troop Startup Guide has Girl Scouts Heart of the Hudson emergency information to notify council if there is an emergency. And you should review Volunteer Essentials Chapter 4, Safety-Wise, in its entirety while in the planning stages of your trip. Volunteer Essentials has information for following all the safety guidelines and safety tips. Make sure your trip meets Girl Scout program standards and guidelines. Preparation is key. Be prepared. You should have Girl Scout Heart of the Hudson emergency telephone number in your cell phone contact list. And know how many adults to girl ratio you need. This chart can be found in Volunteer Essentials. So before your trip, you should plan to meet with everyone going on your trip to talk about expectations and safety rules. Remind the adults that they're not allowed to smoke or drink in front of the girls. And troop drivers must be 21 years of age and have a current background check on record. And be certain to devise a plan on what to do in case of an emergency. Before planning a trip, you need to know your group's travel readiness. Some factors to consider are if girls and adults are emotionally and physically ready to go on a trip. Also important before planning a trip, you need to take into consideration individual physical fitness and accessibility for special needs and dietary requirements. This chart you see here is in Volunteer Essentials. When we talk about progression, that means you should start out planning shorter trips in preparation for the longer or more distant trips. When traveling, there should be a crawl before you walk approach to travel, starting with a visit to a local attraction, a 2-hour trip to the city where girls are transported by private-owned vehicles or take public transportation, then progressing to overnights and more extensive trips. Even if girls are joining Girl Scouts explicitly to participate in a trip, progression is an essential part of preparation. Readiness means more than just packing the right shoes or being a good planner. It's about having the maturity to handle situations that arise when you are traveling. It's especially important for girls who may be going on their first group trip. It's important to help them get ready for their trip. A discussion should be had with their parents regarding their past travel experiences and give the girls in the group going on the trip an opportunity to share their travel experiences. This discussion will help get them ready for their trip. Girl Scout Heart of the Hudson has houses and program centers for troops to use. These buildings were designed especially with Girl Scout activities in mind. All of these Girl Scout properties have 1 or 2 large program rooms, bathrooms, and fully equipped kitchens. They are available for troop meetings, program activities, and overnights. Coming up, we will take a look at how to reserve Girl Scout houses from our website. We have several camp properties that troops can use with appropriate leader training. There is a complete list of our camp properties, directions on how to reserve them on our website under Properties Camp section. And while you're on our website, check out Travel Opportunities Girl Scout Heart of the Hudson offers under Travel Opportunities. Camp Addison Boyce is located in Tompkins Cove in Rockland County. Camp Ludington is located just north of Lake Como in Dutchess. And, of course, Camp Rock Hills. We have 190 acres tucked away in the wooded area of Mayapack. And Camp Wendy is nestled in the foothills of Wallkill, Ulster County. If you are planning a service unit camp out, here are a few things that you should note. If you are using the Girl Scout Heart of the Hudson camp property, you need 1 trained service unit camping on-site coordinator. This training is a self-study, and you can register for this on our website under Trainings, Volunteer Learning Opportunities. The service unit camping coordinator responsibilities are to ensure that the service unit is following Girl Scout Heart of the Hudson's guidelines and properly using Girl Scout Heart of the Hudson's property and equipment. The coordinator's responsibilities also include visiting the campsite prior to the camp out if they are unfamiliar with the campsite. They also oversee reserving the camp property and submitting trip notification forms. Camp property reservations for service unit spring and fall camping require reservations to be submitted at the appropriate times and by a certain due date. And this information is generally announced in headlines and happenings. Spring campouts you need to reserve by January and fall reservations by April. So reservations are booked on a first come, first served basis. To reserve one of the Girl Scout Heart of the Hudson properties, you can go to our website and click on our Councils tab on the green banner, click on Camp Properties, and then Rent Our Facilities. If this is the first time reserving one of our properties, when you click on Rent Our Facility, this page will appear and prompt you to create a profile and a user ID and password. Then you can make a reservation and select what facility. This page provides information on how to reserve. If you have any questions, email property@girlscoutsheartofthehudson.org. For prices, see Girl Scout Heart of the Hudson's properties and pricing at a glance. You can find this information on this page by scrolling down to the bottom of the page. Our Girl Scout Heart of the Hudson Camporee is coming up. It's our 3rd biennial Camporee at Ulster County Fairgrounds. The event is June 11th, 9 a.m. to June 12th at 10 a.m. Registration closes on May 31 or until it fills up. We just opened up some more rooms this morning, so if you have not, if you visited earlier than that and saw it was closed, please revisit it because it is now open for additional attendees. The cost is $55. Dinner, late night snack, and breakfast is included. And the day-only participants cost $30 per person. That includes a catered dinner as well. We still have some spots available, so be sure to spread the word. Now, also individual parents and their daughters are also welcome to attend. So all participants need to be a registered Girl Scout member. And troop leaders who are taking their girls are required to have taken overnight indoor training. So let's talk about some exciting things that are going to be happening there. Some activities being offered this year are rock climbing, hay rides, archery, Zumba dancing. And our all-time returning favorite is the swap exchange. So spread the word. It's a wonderful opportunity to set up tents under the stars in a safe environment and bond with your sister Girl Scouts from across the council. Girl Scout Destinations is a wonderful opportunity for individual girls ages 11 and older who like to travel and team up with other girls who have similar interests. For information on upcoming destination opportunities, you can visit Girl Scout USA's website. Travel and destination information is updated on the Girl Scout USA website regularly. Girl Scout Heart of the Hudson also offers travel opportunities for girls. Presently, there is a trip planned for this summer to see one of the world's centers, our chalet in Switzerland. So check the travel opportunities section on our website for more details and other travel opportunities coming up. International trips out of the continental U.S. require 2 or 3 years of preparation. When girls show an interest in traveling outside of the U.S., leaders should inform the council and get permission to plan the trip. They should let their membership and volunteer services managers know their plans from the beginning and submit a trip activity notification request form and any necessary documents required for a trip and other permissions as required along the way. Girls and leaders should demonstrate their ability to plan, organize, and budget, accept responsibility, observe emergencies and safety measures. They need to work together as a group and have evaluated their experiences through a variety of successful short and extended trips. Traveling abroad is a great way to learn about other cultures. Julie Gordon Lowe believed that when girls traveled internationally, they had an opportunity to foster cultural understanding. That's why the Juliet Lowe World Friendship Fund was formed in 1927. If you're planning on taking an international trip, consider visiting one of the world centers. These program centers are in England, India, Mexico, and Switzerland. Try and stay clear of trips that girls would take with their families and focus on educational trips. Effective planning is the key to successful traveling. Establishing a trip planning timeline with girls is an essential first step in the trip planning process. The next and last slide for trip planning this evening, we'll take a look at the Global Travel Toolkit. The Global Travel Kit is a great traveling resource. It includes 4 guides that you see here. You can go to the girlscouts.org for Girls website and download this toolkit. Volunteer Essentials in the appendix, the Travel Volunteer section, also has a link to take you there. Let's talk about exploration, the Girl Scout Guide to Global Travel. That takes girls through the steps of planning their own international group trip. It's filled with tips and tricks for traveling abroad. The Adult Guide to Girl Scout Global Travel serves as a companion to the Girls Exploration Guide. And the Girl Scout Travel Log is a journal for Girl Scouts to record their travel experiences before, during, and after their trip. The Girl Scout Travel Appendix has travel resources, handouts, and forms. This resource has a great deal of important information that you should read about before you plan your trip. You will learn information on air travel, transportation security administration. It recommends that you purchase flight insurance, and it recommends that you have at least one phone with the capability to call the U.S. It has information how to apply for passport, visas, and safety emergency preparedness. The Girl Scout Travel Appendix will also lead you to websites for travel provider agents such as East Fishkill Tour, I should say not East Fishkill, excuse me, EF Tours, Office Girl Scout Troops, and groups customized educational tours to the world centers and more than 50 countries around the world. The Girl Scout Travel Appendix will also lead you to websites such as other websites for information on regarding touring. So this is all very good information that's in these resources that you see on this screen. So it's up to you and the girls and the parents and guardians to realistically assess your travel plans. Look at each situation carefully based on travel dates, comfort levels, and finance, and current safety information, especially if you're traveling abroad. Okay, we just went through all our trip planning. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to type it in your panel box. And while we wait, what's your story? I'd love for you to send me your trip adventure stories. Best trip planning strategies is hearing from others. It's that been there, done that. Hearing about other trip experiences will provide ideas, save you time in planning, and help avoid disappointment. The information you send me, I will have for future references. Okay, don't see any questions coming up. I take that as you heard what you needed to hear tonight. But please feel free. There's my email on the screen here. If you have any questions after tonight's webinar, please feel free to contact me. And here are the links to the travel information mentioned. And again, happy National Volunteer Month. And don't forget to stop by one of the council offices on April 22nd for your Leader Appreciation Gift. Okay, everyone, safe travels and good night.